I'm brand new here, still in just my third week, so I thought this would be a fun time for us to go over our favorite cards. I want to share some of my favorite cards, and then Doug, you'll share some of your favorites of all time.
Yep.
So let's get into it. I'd say my first year of really serious collecting, 2002, the Topps cards you see here. I think I had both of these cards, the Ichiro and Albert Pujols, the Rookie of the Year cards. This is the first year I got really, really into collecting. I like the design, nice and simple with this one, but the cards I loved were these ones. The Barry Bonds Chase for 73 cards that were part of this. I think I snagged maybe one of this collection when I was just buying packs with money I made. Me and my neighbor would mow lawns during the summer, and whatever we could get, or do whatever, some chores around the house. And at the end of every week, that Saturday, his dad or my dad would take us to the local card shop. We'd buy like 3 packs with the money we saved up, and that was like the highlight of our summer. And I was able to get one of these Barry Bonds home run cards in that pack. I was, and of course, as a Bonds fan, I was through the roof for those cards.
Absolutely, and that was one of the requirements to work here. Is you got to like Barry Bonds, because if you don't, you don't join the team here at Mojo. No, but I actually had no idea he was going to say that, so that's amazing. I had a few of those, and there was also one, and I can't remember the year, but after he broke the all-time record, they actually had a card for each one of those, all the way up to 756 too. So that was amazing, and I think those have gone up. I had a few. I obviously it takes almost 800 cards to build that set, but yeah, very cool cards.
Yeah, loved those ones. And then the first year one year my dad and I said, you know what? My dad actually said for my birthday, hey, let's get a full factory set of cards. So that would be the 05 Topps baseball cards, which had some pretty good ones. I've got this one lying around somewhere, that Justin Verlander draft pick. That's probably the best of the set, or best player of that set. But that was the first year where we decided, you know what? Enough going to the store and getting cards. Let's get the real deal. Let's get a full box. So we've got a bunch to start the season. Of course, little did I know, as the season goes along, there's a lot more cards, a lot more boxes that are ready to be opened up as a young collector there. But that was, I've still got that box laying around, I think in my parents' garage, they've got that one. So somewhere in there is that Justin Verlander draft.
And a lot of people forget that Andre Ethier actually got to start with race.
That's right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, with the A's, and I think that was what the guy was. Carlos Gonzalez was also around that time with the A's. So they traded a lot of good outfielders for that.
I mean, Ethier he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely was a solid player.
Yeah. Oh yeah, All-Star contributor a couple of years. Same with Gonzalez. So A's could have had a lot more for those years. Then this next card is one I actually remember. I kind of stopped collecting cards for a little bit, and then one day I saw a story about, hey, there's these Derek Jeter cards with George W. Bush in the stands and Mickey Mantle in the dugout, and it was making the news, and I thought, oh, that's funny. And then I think later that day, I just by chance went, oh, I saw that story about cards. I'm going to go buy one single pack of cards, and lo and behold, I open it up.
Oh, my God.
And I got this card. I don't think it's worth as much as I thought it would be. I held it. I was like, oh, my God, I'm sitting on $1,000 right now, and it has not happened, clearly. But I think maybe certain types of this card might be worth something. But it's another one that I just like this one because it's so funny to me that somebody, some trickster over at Topps decided I'm going to stick this in maybe on their last day where they decided to quit in a huff, and they put George W. Bush and Mickey Mantle there. So I just like to envision that scenario.
Yeah, they must have made a lot of them because, I mean, they do sell for like $10, but
not much.
They must have printed a bunch of them. They weren't necessarily an SSP, but I do remember that. That made national news.
Yeah.
So it was definitely whatever Topps was trying to do at that time, it did work.
So maybe, you know what? I'm starting to think it wasn't a mistake now.
Right.
Now that there's so many of them and that it made news, I'm starting to think this was all a big plot by Topps to get
and was
people
that
back in.
During his presidency at that time?
That was the final year, I believe.
Okay,
so that was the 2007 collection.
We had social media. If I remember, it was probably more MySpace at that time.
Yeah.
But if we would have had Twitter, I'm sure there would have. I mean, you can't do something like this now and be political. But back then, I think you could kind of get away with it a little bit more. Yeah. But right now, I'm done with Topps. Blah, blah, blah. If it was any kind of politics in the card.
Oh yeah, 100%. But just still, opening that card,
Super cool.
Made me just crack up. I could not believe that I stumbled on it. And my last one here is not a card that was mine. I got a lot of hand-me-down cards. When I first started collecting, my dad had a few. And this is one of my favorites, Willie Mays 3D 1971 out of a box of cornflakes. These cards are a lot more rare than I thought, by the way, which is unfortunate because the card I have does not look that good. It's got a lot of it's bent a little bit. I think
cornflake stuck to it.
Exactly. So it's a little unfortunate. I realized as I looked it up, oh my gosh, if this was just kept in a little better care, I might be sitting on something special here. But this year, especially, the more research I did, the hardest year to come by. Because they were basically only there were certain ones where you could mail in and you could get the whole set, and this one was like you could only get it out of the box with the cereal. Wow. So a little more rare to find these ones. Unfortunately, a few creases in Willie Mays' face that were made.
So it'd be like a 1, yours, maybe a 0.5.
Oh yeah, basically, yeah, if that, a 0.25. If you got that, yeah, it's not in the best shape. More of a sentimental favorite.
Definitely. Well, I have some cards, and this was a fun little segment for me to actually really kind of think, because there's just so many I've seen. And I wanted to start with my actually, I just acquired one, a Gem Mint 10, probably paid way too much for it, but the Topps traded Tiffany Berry Bonds for a few reasons. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan, but I love the Pirates hat. I mean, that was an iconic Pirates hat. Actually, Willie Stargell kind of bridges the, this generation with that 70s generation of Pirates. And, just Barry Bonds is my favorite player, and the Tiffany was only like a mail order in set, and so it's a little bit more rare. It's got that gloss that people love these days, so that's probably one of my favorites. And then 1991 Stadium Club, Nolan Ryan in a tux, doing the signature leg kick. This one I built. My dad and me went to the local hobby store. We built the whole set, pack by pack, until we got the whole set built. That was the year they'd had the Frank Thomas and the Jeff Bagwell rookie. Wow. And at the time, I think Frank Thomas was like $40, $50 on Beckett, So we had like 8 of them, and we thought we were going to retire and all this stuff. But this card, I remember going that is cool, because it's not a game moment. It's
never
outside of, you always see game photos. And Stadium Club, this was the first all full gloss card. Kodak was on the pack. So it looked great with the suit. It really kind of signified what Stadium Club is even today. And then my last one is kind of the one that got away. 2009, I bought a box of this. I bought a Sterling back then in 2009. Used to come with, it would be one master box, would be 6 mini boxes, and each mini box would have 3 autos. So each box would have 18 autos. And it was all prospects. And I bought one off eBay for $50, and I got a Trout. And back then, I went to my local card store, and I was like, "Hey, is this guy Trout any good?" He was a late first rounder, and the guy's like, "Yeah, he's pretty good." So I wound up selling it for $50, which basically covered the cost of my pack. And now this card is like, I don't know, $9 or $10 grand. But so it's the one that got away. But I do love the design. It was an early Trout auto. He doesn't sign his auto that way anymore. And just the embossing on that set was just fantastic. So those 3 cards are probably, at this moment, my 3 favorite cards.
Any card featuring Nolan Ryan in a tuxedo is okay with me. Those are always I get such a kick. Like, forget what year it was, but one just random player just had a card with like a giant oversized glove, like toy glove.
Oh yes.
And it was so weird. It wasn't like an all-star or anything, but you just decided I want a big giant novelty glove in my card. Like, it's so strange.
I know what card you're talking about. I can't think of the name, but and then there was those who made those posters back in the 80s? I want to say it was like the something Brothers or something, but they made like the Ryan Express. And he was on like a train, and then you had Will the Thrill. And
it
was like
I think there was one with like Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell. Yep. That was you know what? It's funny. My senior year econ teacher had that poster up in his wall with Kevin Mitchell and Will Clark. It's awesome.
And then they have the famous Bash Brothers one where they're on the field they're in cop uniform with the big bats, Mark McGwire and Canseco. Oh. So those posters, I almost wish Topps or whoever could like redo those and make a set of those, because those are awesome.
Yeah, if you're listening, Topps, the MLB tuxedo set, let's do it. MLB players like looking like they're posing for prom. I'm all for it. I'm all for that.